When you hear the name Herod the Great, you think about the spiritual battle between the ways of the world and the ways of God. Well, what about the spiritual battle that takes place at Herod's Gate? We're coming to you from Herod's Gate in Jerusalem. Stay with us to find out why.
My heart was glad when they said to me, let us go up to the gates of Jerusalem. Our feet will stand in the house of the Lord. Yes, let us go up to the gates of Jerusalem. The gates of Jerusalem.
Shalom and welcome to our program. I'm Miles Weiss.
And I'm Catherine Weiss, and we want to welcome you to our program, Jerusalem, Ancient Gates but Future Glory. We're going to take you in depth to study the gates of the Lord inside the city of our God. And it's such a privilege to be able to walk about the city and to learn. God saves certain things for us in these days to prove the validity of His Word.
Yes.
And the validity of His soon return.
Yes. The city has gates entering into it, the old city. They have a historical meaning, they have a current meaning, and they have a prophetic future meaning for us. And so we're excited about that. There are currently 8 gates there. One of them is blocked, but it will not always be so. You'll learn about that in a future program. We have a special guest today.
Oh, absolutely. We have Rosemary Schindler will be on today, and we'll be sharing her journey of standing with the Jewish people.
Yes.
And being an advocate for what God designed her to be for the Jewish state. And she's taken on the legacy of Oscar Schindler.
Yes.
She's really been a bridge builder between the Jews and the Christians.
Yes.
She's even served part-time in the IDF as just a volunteer. There's so many ways that you can be involved to be that watchman on the wall. I love what the Talmud says, that he who saves a life saves the world entire. So our focus would be the salvation of the Jewish people.
Yeah, and that phrase became associated with Oscar Schindler after he learned that he could
Make a difference.
Yeah, he could make a difference,
Yeah.
and we can make a difference too. Today we're going to be going to Herod's Gate, which brings up the question from Psalm 24:10, Mi hu ze melech hakavod? Who is this King of Glory? Because Herod thought that he was the King of Glory, and we know that he is not. Sometimes you'll hear us speak about the gates entering into different quarters of the old city. They're not actually quarters as we think of them, they're equally divided. They're sections that are unequally divided. The Muslim quarter is the largest. There's an Armenian quarter, a Christian quarter, and the smallest quarter of all, the Jewish quarter, which doesn't somehow seem right.
Right.
But I think we can pray and take that up with God, because the King of Glory is returning to a Jewish Jerusalem, and He will rule and reign from Jerusalem, and the whole world will come up to worship Him there. So let's go to Jerusalem and Herod's Gate.
In spite of the bloodshed that has happened here, God has called us to be watchmen on the wall. So even more, we need your prayers to pray over the peace of Jerusalem. You can feel the tension over on this side of the quarter, of the Muslim quarter. So thank you for standing with us, with the people of Israel.
It's amazing. Isaiah 62 tells us to stand as watchmen, and that's our job today. This part of the era that we're in, this is the end of the age. We're looking for Messiah to come, and we really believe that we're calling, through these programs, we're calling you to stand as watchmen on the walls. Here in the northern part at Herod's Gate, there's so much history about the invasions from the north, and yet we believe that it's a place where we can stand together in unity and pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Absolutely. God has called us to be His voice in this hour. Like never before, we need to stand up and be a voice for Yeshua. So thank you for being interested in what the old city stands for, and what God soon will bring to pass is His presence will come down from heaven, and He will have an eternal city right here.
Amen.
We hope you're enjoying our series, Jerusalem, Ancient Gates, Future Glory, as we present the historical and spiritual significance of each gate surrounding the Old City of Jerusalem. Get this series for yourself or to share with friends. Just call us at 1-800-WONDERS or go to LEVITT.com and ask for the DVD series, Jerusalem, Ancient Gates, Future Glory. Hello, I'm Wayne Fournier, and I've been a supporter of ZOLA LEVITT Ministries for many years. If you see this outreach as worthy of your financial support, please call us at 1-800-WONDERS. Visit us online at LEVITT.com or write to us at ZOLA, Box 12, 268, Dallas, Texas, 75225. We depend on your financial sustenance. Thank you.
We're now in front of Herod's Gate, the Flower Gate. There's historically been a flower market within these gates, so that's how it got its name, but it goes back to the time of King Herod. They believe that he was the original builder of the first wall. Then, of course, it's been rebuilt, destroyed, and rebuilt. In fact, because this is on the north side, it's been the place of weakness and attack over the centuries, over and over again. The Babylonians came from the north. Rome came from the north. The Crusaders came through the north. In fact, Godfrey, the Crusader, in 1099, this is one of the places where he defeated the Muslims. And so it's a place of real tension. In fact, you can actually still feel the tension in the area today. I think it's in the spiritual atmosphere here. But the reality is that this is also close to the northern end of the city where we're near Mount Scopus. And Mount Scopus is the Greek name for what the Hebrews called Har Hatzophim, or the mountain of watching, the mountain of inspection or watching over. Isn't it interesting that the modern Hebrew word for Christian is notzrim, which also means watchman. And so again, we see that we're in a season where God is calling us to be watchmen on the walls. Remember, our work is spiritual. It is not primarily physical. However, there is a physical relationship to what God has intended for this land and the way that He has intended to be the king over it and then to give it as He wills to whom He will. And so you can feel the tension in this area. We can sense that there is a battle over the gate and over the ownership of the area, we could say. In 1998, there was an archaeological discovery near here that found that there were 9 layers of life that had taken place here. Imagine, you know, like in archaeology, a tell is a place of archaeological findings, and it's where one culture builds on top of another. Well, in this area, right here on the northern end of the city, they found 9 layers of culture going back through history. I think that this is a great place for us to be aware of the necessity for the church at large to pray for our Muslim friends. We need to pray that they will come to salvation. They will come to know Yeshua HaMashiach because He is sovereignly visiting Muslims. And we need to be those who are praying for that to happen, that the veil literally would be taken away. The veil that is currently over the women of Islam is also over the hearts of the Muslims. And we need to be praying for the veil to be taken away. I like the way our friend Avi Lipkin says, we bring them the Lord or they bring us the sword. And so it's up to us to pray that they will find the Lord, because when they do, their hatred is transformed to love, and the cry for jihad becomes a cry for salvation and love to all mankind. And we need to pray for that. Join me in that, will you?
For insightful perspectives on Israel and Bible prophecy, ask for our free monthly newsletter, The Levitt Letter. At levitt.com you can read the newsletter, watch the TV program, or visit our online store. Stay current with us on social media via Facebook and Twitter. Come with us on a tour of Israel or Petra, or a cruise to Greece and Ephesus. Please contact us for more information.
You know, coming to Israel is not just a vacation, it's a pilgrimage. It's a spiritual journey where the scripture will come alive and God will deepen your walk with Him. He'll change your life forever, and the Bible will never be the same. It'll be multi-dimensional.
That's really true. I remember years ago we brought a group of leaders, and this pastor of a large church in our
Yes,
area.
yeah.
He said, with a tear in his eye,
Yeah.
he said, Miles, why wasn't this 35 years ago in seminary? Why did I wait my entire ministry life to find out where the word comes from and the origins and the roots and to have it come alive in that particular way? Really, come to Israel with us. You will not regret it. As Zola said, it's worth 10 years of Sunday school, one tour there, one trip. You can go online. You can find out about it at LEVITT.com or call us at 1-800-WONDERS. Speak to our tour manager, Sandra, and come with us. It's really the trip of a lifetime. So we get to meet some amazing people as we do these programs. And Tamar is 10th generation in the land.
Yeah.
She is an expert on the gates. She teaches, she writes about the gates. She even teaches and writes for children so they grow up understanding these things. And we interviewed her about the gates. She actually is a tour guide instructor. She teaches guides how to guide. So let's go right now to our interview with Tamar in Israel. What you're doing is so important in terms of bringing awareness to the next generations of the whole world. Our children are college age, they're older, and they face anti-Semitism, anti-Israelism on their campuses in America. Can you tell our viewers about the importance of what you're doing and how what their attitude will make a difference also in this world?
Well, awareness, that's the word. I mean, as long as nobody, if you don't know, you can't feel, you can't understand. And that's something that this is my effort as a tour guide. Whenever I have a group coming here, this is exactly what I want to show. It's not just the history, it's not just the archaeology. This is something you can find anywhere in the world. Right. Jerusalem tells you a story. And these stones, the little rocks, you know, the walls, it's not just a wall, it's not just a piece of stone. This is something that I always say when I go to the Western Wall, for example. I always say that we treat the Western Wall as something very holy, so important, but then if you take just one stone out of that wall, you put it on the other side, it's just another stone. We have to remember that the stones tell us a story that we would like to hear. If we're not there, if we don't listen, it doesn't work. That's what I try to do with groups that comes to Jerusalem. I try to figure out a way for them to understand what these stones are telling us, and by doing that, you get connected to the story, to the old stories, to the history, to the archaeology. And then, I think this is what I try to do. They understand that the fact that I live here today and my family live here, and the fact that we are here, again, a Jewish state in Israel after so many years of trying to have it, this is a continuation of these stones.
It's really the story of Hashem. It's the people, Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live, but it's his story also.
Everywhere.
Thank you. It's so fitting that we're in front of this panorama of the city. You know, I think about this wonderful guide that we spoke to, this trainer of guides, Tamar, and she actually spoke in terms of the city talking to her and the blessing that it was to be a native of Jerusalem and just the generations of living there, and as if it was alive and the gates were alive to her.
Absolutely.
It's a fantastic testimony.
She knows that she's living in a privileged time because the people of the book are back in the land of the book.
Right. Exactly, and she really touched on, and we felt real strongly that there's something about the generational need for parents and grandparents to pass on these understandings so that we have a bulwark against anti-Semitism and against this anti-Zionism that's in the world right now. Yeah, I think we always have to remember that anti-Semitism is really anti-God, and it comes, the seed bed is not believing in that there is a God and he has a plan and he is sovereign and he gets to choose and he gets to place people where he will, and yet he's not a discriminating God. He's an inclusive God, he's a loving God, and he invites all to come to him. His way.
His way. Yeah. Well, we're going to hear from our good friend, Rosemary Schindler. She has a lot to say about anti-Semitism and where we are now in time. And there's a warning for us as Americans and as the church to not be on the wrong side of history, but to stand with God and his plan. So let's go now to Rosemary Schindler as she speaks at Oscar Schindler's grave.
I'm standing here in the Catholic cemetery on Mount Zion, where the only German Nazi was allowed to be buried in Jerusalem, that of Oscar Schindler. This is his grave. It was 39 years ago he passed away on October 9th, 1974, at the age of 66. He was buried here in honor of the nearly 12,000 Jews that he saved by employing them in his factories, first an enamelware and then a munitions factory in Poland and Czechoslovakia for 6 years during the entire Holocaust, daily risking his life, being imprisoned, facing possible death, and maneuvering and manipulating all of his resources to save the lives of his employees, who he referred to as his children. He and his wife Emily were childless, but they were allowed to adopt the families, the Jewish families of Poland and Germany, through the business that they were given as Nazi officials when the Jewish businesses were confiscated beginning in 1939 during Kristallnacht. It was 80 years ago that Adolf Hitler came to power in Germany. He offered change to the people in hard economic times. He told them he would be their champion, that he would restore Germany to prominence and to power. She stood as the most Christian nation in all of Europe at that time, but the people wanted change.
And change is what they got. Healthcare, gun control, abortion. The people of Germany saw in Adolf Hitler a superhero that would bring resolution to their every need. At Yad Vashem, Jerusalem's Holocaust memorial, Catherine and Rosemary walked along the Garden of the Righteous Gentiles. At that site, tribute is paid to Oskar Schindler and others who sacrificed their lives to save the lives of others in one of history's darkest hours.
The same propaganda in its a different form that's arising on our college campuses today. It's a anti-Zionism. You know, they say it's okay to be a Jew, but just not a Zionist. That is a heartbreak for you and for me to hear. And so we just want to continue to educate our audience and their children that God has a plan with Israel. And do you have anything to say about Zion and God's appointed times and what he would be saying to the world today about Zion?
Yes. Well, Zion, the new anti-Semitism, the same anti-Semitism in a global form, is anti-Zionism.
Right.
People must understand when they reject Israel, when they speak bad about Israel and persecute Israel and divest from Israel, they are acting in the same way that the Germans and Europeans did to oppress the Jewish people 70, 80 years ago in the Holocaust. That the new anti-Semitism is anti-Zionism.
Right.
Not just against the people, the Jewish people, but against the entire nation of Israel.
Right. On an up note, you and I have had the privilege of leading many pilgrims to this holy land and sharing God's heart and seeing the anti-Semitism leave and seeing them return from Israel back to the States with such a heart for the Lord and for his land, and then multiply the positive, the view that God has about this land. And one of this little carob pods, can you tell our audience a little bit about what this is?
Yes. In the Holocaust Memorial Museum called Yad Vashem, there is an avenue of trees that are planted representing the Gentiles, the non-Jews, who risked their life without remuneration, put themselves in danger to save the lives of Jewish people being sent to concentration camp or signed to death, or another way, taking them out of harm's way. And this is in memory of those who withstood the evil forces and were an exception to the rule. And so Israel honors those righteous by planting trees, and particularly carob trees. And this is a tree that has qualities that express the type of individual who would withstand tough and perilous times. The carob tree, even if it's burnt and with water, the roots will spring back.
Wow.
So it's showing how even in the Holocaust, with the death of the 6 million, with their destruction in the oven. They were revived and they were resurrected in a way that Israel came back as a nation after 2,000 years. And particularly this fruit, this carob fruit, is something that would sustain people in the wilderness in times of famine. And inside its pod is a seed that is a weight of measure that was used to weigh the value of jewelry and diamonds and to determine the carat value, expressing the preciousness of the Jewish people, the preciousness of every single life, and the preciousness of those individuals who saved one life or many.
Wow.
There's a saying that goes with those righteous, that is that he that saves the life of one man, it's as if he saved the entire world.
Wow.
Because more precious than even the world itself is a human life made in the image of God.
Thank you for your service. You inspire me, and I know you inspire many people to live for God and to live for His plan for each and every one of us, to be that light and to value life and to value what God values. So thank you, Rosemary.
You're welcome, Catherine.
Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, hear Yeshua cry. How I longed to gather you to me. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Messiah wept for you. So should we not be weeping too? For Zion's sake, I will not keep silent. For Zion's sake, I'll not hold my peace. For Zion's sake, for Yerushalayim, I will not rest. I will not rest. I've set watchmen on your walls, O Jerusalem. They shall never hold their peace. Day or night, oh, you who call upon the Lord for Zion's sake. I've set watchmen on your walls, O Jerusalem. They shall never hold their peace. Day or night, oh, you who call upon the Lord, take no rest and give him no rest till he makes Jerusalem a praise in the earth, a praise in the earth. For Zion's sake, I will not keep silence. For Zion's sake, I'll not hold my peace. For Zion's sake, for Yerushalayim, I will not rest. I will not rest. I will
I love Marty's music, For Zion's Sake. You know, Scripture talks about in Isaiah 62:1, for Zion's sake, I will not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest until her righteousness goes forth as brightness, and her salvation as a lamp that burns. God speaks very dearly about the people of Israel and the place of Israel.
Yeah, that's why it's such an honor to do what we do here and be able to bring this message to the world, to the church, to the Western world. Actually, we've heard people from Australia see us and people in Israel see us. And we can't do it without your gifts of funds. We're so grateful that you partner with us because we can bring you these programs and keep pushing back against anti-Semitism, keep lifting up the Lord, keep speaking about the coming of Messiah and this wonderful thing that's happening between Jews and Christians, and especially within the body between Jews and Gentiles as we learn to worship Yeshua together. I mean, it's just, we're in a time of miracles.
What you always say, you know, the new spin on it, it's okay to be a Jew, but it's not okay to be a Zionist.
Yes.
Well, that's not God's truth.
Exactly so.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not anti-Semitic, I'm just anti-Zionist, anti-Israel.
Right.
Well, Israel was given to the Jewish people. It is a safe place for us to be, for us to live, to flourish, and, by the way, be a blessing to the rest of the world. And so to be anti-Zionist is to be anti-Semitic, and it is to be, as you said, essentially anti-God, because His Word has prophesied these things in the times that we're living in right now. So next week, we will be visiting the Lion's Gate, which was where the IDF broke through in 1967 to bring Jerusalem back to the Jewish people and to Israel. And so it's going to be a very exciting program. Don't miss it. And always, please remember, Sha'alu Shalom Yerushalayim.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Our monthly newsletter, The Levitt Letter, is free and full of insightful articles and news commentary from a messianic perspective. Visit levitt.com to find our newsletter, along with current and past programs, our television schedule, and much more.
Don't forget to order this week's resource by calling 1-800-WONDERS, or you can purchase it from our catalog at levitt.com.
Your donations to ZOLA Levitt Ministries help these organizations bless Israel. Please remember, ZOLA Levitt Ministries depends on tax-deductible donations from viewers like you.
My heart was glad when they said to me, yes, let us go up, let us go up to the gates of Jerusalem, the gates of Jerusalem.
This has been a paid program brought to you by ZOLA Levitt Ministries.